Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Thanks for being here. And if you're new to my channel, I'm Patty. And today I've got some terracotta pot garden fun for you that I think you're really going to enjoy. So let's get started. Okay, I'm going to start with a terracotta flower stem pot and 4 saucers. And I got these at Hobby Lobby. And these measure 3.5 inches in diameter. And I'm just going to line them up like this. And then I'm going to take a piece of paper, go ahead and draw a circle around the base of it. And then I'm going to cut that out so I can find my center hole to mark it on each one of the saucers. Okay, then I'm just going to fold this in half, and I'm going to fold it half again, and then I'm just going to cut the tip off of it so I can get my center point. And then I'm just going to open it up and lay it into the bottom of each one of the saucers and mark the center hole for each one of these so I have my center point. Okay, next I'm going to go ahead and drill my holes. Now, just drill a hole that's big enough to run a screw through, whatever size screw you use. I'm going to use like a number 8 screw, so I'm drilling these out for that. You're going to take some wood and just kind of brace it so it doesn't roll while you're doing this step. And we're just going to line up our wheels and we're going to mark them with a pencil just right through the center of that hole to see where we're going to drill them. Now, if you don't want to drill the holes, you can just glue your wheels on, but they will be a little bit crooked. And then once you get them marked, go ahead and drill them. And it didn't really take that long to drill them. I'm just using a small drill bit. You can add a little bit of water to this, make it a little bit easier if you want to, but just, you know, drill a hole in it. It's not going to break. It's pretty easy to do. Next, I'm just going to go ahead and paint this with some outdoor patio paint, and I think the color on this was called Scarlet, and I'm just using a sponge to apply this. Now, if you watch these vases go on sale, they normally list for $5.99 at Hobby Lobby, but they go 50% every once in a while, like maybe every other week, and I got mine for $2.99. But just get it covered good, and I think I ended up doing 2 coats on this to get it done, and if you add a little water to your sponge, it makes it go on a little bit easier. And then make sure you do paint the bottom too because it is going to show. And your sponge holds a lot of paint, so you can just push on it real good and it does let a lot of paint out of the sponge. Okay, next we're going to take some little saucers and we're going to paint those with the black patio paint. I'll give you the link for these sponges. I get them on Amazon, but they are super easy to paint with and they clean up really good and they do not leave any kind of brush marks. But you want to get the entire saucer painted on all 4 of them. Next, for the chimney and the cabin of the train, I'm going to use a flower pot that measures 2.5 inches by 2.5 inches or 2.25 inches, close to that. And then this one measures 1.75 by 1.75. And then I'm just going to paint those with the same black paint. And you're going to want to go ahead and paint the inside, the bottom, and the outside on these because they are going to show. And we're going to go ahead and paint the inside of the flower pot too with the same black. Attach the wheels. I'm just going to use a screw with a washer on it and I'm just going to put it right through my saucer. And then I'm going to go ahead and get it started with a screwdriver and then I'm going to push it through the hole and we're going to attach it at the back, and I'll show you how to do that here in a second. But you are going to want to use some washers. It just kind of keeps it from cracking if you get a little bit too tight on the screws, so just go ahead and make sure you do use washers. And then go ahead and run it through the hole in your flower pot, and we're going to add a washer to the back of it and then a nut to tighten it up. And you're going to do that for all 4 of your wheels. Just don't over tighten it, but just get it tight enough to where it doesn't move. I'm just going to take a little Jenga block and I'm going to cut it into 4 pieces. And I'm just using a little mini saw to do this. This is a little table saw. I'll give you the link for it. It's really a good tool to have. But we're wedging the back of those wheels open so that they're not towed in towards the vase. That way when you look at them, they're standing straight up. Okay, then I'm just going to use a little E6000 glue and some hot glue to get these wedges put in here. And you won't see these once you get done, but they will hold those wheels out so that they are straight. And then go ahead and tighten up your screw. And then go ahead and put all the other ones on just like that. See how straight that looks? But you make sure that you are using your washers because it will help your saucers from cracking. And then just add a wedge on each one of these wheels. And if you didn't want to do the holes in it where you drill it, you could glue these on, but you do need to make a wedge on it as well. But I think it would work fine too if you just glued them on. But it's going to be a little bit better for outdoors if you do take the time to put the screws through there. Next, to attach the chimney and then the little cab, just go ahead and put some hot glue and some E6000 glue right underneath those flower pots and let them dry up. And then go ahead and get any excess glue off as you're going around. Now, I already glued the back part on, so sorry it got out of camera, but you glue it on exactly like this part here. But you do want to make sure that you do clean off the excess glue. You can just use some paint to touch up around the edges of it. Okay, for the light for the front, I just took a little finial. I got it at Hobby Lobby, painted it black, and I'm just attaching it with some E6000 glue and hot glue. And that's for the little light. Okay, next for the grill, I'm taking a 2-inch long piece of craft foam, and I'm just going to go ahead and cut up almost to the very top, leaving about 1/4 of an inch overhang. And then I'm going to cut this off at 3 inches wide. And then go ahead and take it from the center, go up the side a little bit to a point, then fold it over, and then match it up. So we want to make sure that we have a V shape in the front. And then to attach it, I'm just going to put a little hot glue right in the center just to hold it in place. And then I'm going to glue the rest of it down. And I'm kind of opening it up as I go. And just go ahead and set it down because you are probably going to have to trim a little bit because you do want it to be flat. So just go ahead and trim around the edge just so that it's not overhanging. And to dress it up a little bit, I'm just going to take some painter's tape and I'm going to do 2 black stripes on both sides. And I'm probably putting mine about 1/2 inch apart. And then I'm just going to use a sponge brush to kind of sponge it on because I don't want it to bleed underneath the tape. And then go ahead and pull your tape off while it's wet. And then I'm doing the other side exactly the same way. I think this turned out so cute. Let me know what you think in the comments. This could be customized so many different ways, so many different colors, so many different patterns. You can decorate it however you want to. Okay, for this next one, I'm using 2 flower pots that measure 4 inches by 4 1/4 inches in diameter. And I'm just going to use E6000 glue and hot glue to attach these together. Now, don't worry so much if you don't get it exactly perfect because we are going to cover up the seam closer towards the end. But do make sure that you put them together straight. And then set that aside to dry. Next, I'm going to use some outdoor patio paint in green, and I'm going to sponge brush the entire thing. Now, I ended up doing 2 coats on this, but you want to cover every bit of it, even the top and the bottom, because all of this is going to show. Next, I got these wheels at Hobby Lobby. You get them in the woodpile section, and I'm just going to paint these with black outdoor paint as well. And you're going to paint every bit of them, the back, the sides, and the fronts. And the good thing about using these sponges to paint, they hold a lot of paint and you don't have to use as much because it's really stored in the sponge, and you can just kind of squeeze it on there when you're starting to run low, but it is a paint saver to use these. Okay, for the lights, I'm taking these little flower pots that measure 1 1/4 by 1 1/4. I got these on Amazon, and I'm just going to paint the inside and the outside of these with that same green paint. Okay, then to cover up the hole in the front, I'm using a 1 1/2 inch round piece of wood, and I'm going to paint it black. This is going to be maybe like the grill. I'm just going to glue it to the front with some E6000 glue and some hot glue. To cover up the seam, I'm just going to use a 1/2 inch piece of craft foam, and I'm just going to glue it all the way around. And I'm just going to use E6000 glue on it, and then I'll attach it in the back with some hot glue. Now, if you can't find a green that matches this, you can just get a white and just go ahead and paint it with that same green paint. And then I'm going to just put a little hot glue right there, and then I'm just going to wrap it around, and I'm going to end with hot glue also. Just kind of pull it as you're going around just to make sure it's tight, and then you'll have a nice covered up seam when you're done. And then I don't know how long that was, but I did have to trim mine off. So you might check it before you put your glue on it. And then I'm just going to glue it off with hot glue in the back. Next, to position my wheels, I'm just going to lay them right against the side of the flower pot, and then I'm going to go ahead and glue them on. Now the front ones, I push those back up to the ledge of the back. And then just go ahead and put some E6000 glue and hot glue on the top part only, and then go ahead and attach them. Just push it right back there to that ledge. And on the back ones, we're going to put those right up against the bottom of the flower pot. But this was a lot easier than trying to drill them. I actually tried to drill through those flower pots, but it was just taking too long, so I'm just doing it this way instead. Next, to attach the headlights, I'm just going to take the flower pot and I'm just going to come up so that the ledge of the flower pot is over the front part of the other vase. That way you can make sure you get enough glue on there to hold these in place. And I'm just going to go on each side of this, about like that. And then just let those dry real good, and then we're going to make some eyes. For the eyes, I'm just going to take some white outdoor patio paint, and I'm just going to paint 2 little wooden balls. And it took me about 2 coats on this. And as you're going, if you have a heat source like an embossing gun, it really does speed up the drying process. Next, to make them look like little eyeballs, I'm just going to take a black Sharpie marker and I'm just going to draw circles until I get them to the size that I want. And then do the same thing with the other one. Okay, so that your eyes don't look like that, you want to be sure and use some tweezers. I'm just holding some tweezers together on this little ball before I glue it in. Just hold it through the sides, put your glue on the back side, kind of all the way around the bottom and the sides up there, and then make sure that you drop it in there so that it is straight. And I'm only using E6000 glue on this because it's going to just sit like this until it dries. All right, and that's pretty much it. Pretty simple. Okay, I think this one turned out so cute. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you like these kind of videos, be sure and give me a like, subscribe, and ring that bell to be notified when I have a new video upload. You could customize this guy in so many different ways, just like the train. Paint him up, add some numbers to him. You could actually even add him a little smile. Thank y'all so much for being here. I really appreciate it.